Robbie.
Stephen Brooks, how are you, sir?
Well, I feel like I've just finished a day of talking for 8 hours straight, but that can't be right because we're recording this in the morning.
It's true.
And we're going to be done before we start work.
Yeah.
So it should just be a 2-hour record. Why do I feel this way? Could it be that we got to the end of the show and we had to go to work? And then I was on Zoom until 3 p.m. And then we got back on Zoom to finish the show. And I sound completely different.
It's kind of like we were roommates and we were hanging out in the morning, and then we had to leave to work like grown-ups.
Yeah, but I don't think we ever came back from work and continued recording. It's just I wonder how that's going to sound. Listen for it, because we do finish rapid fire. The outro and the intro, this one that you're hearing right now, is like 6 hours after we had
Just
already
an
recorded all
extreme
that.
mood change. It was just like, well, that was rapid fire, and I hope you enjoyed it. So anyway.
Actually, I don't even know. I'm probably not going to leave this. I'm probably going to cut it out, but I actually did do and that'll do. And then I had to stop and try to redo it because that was the last. It's really, this is the realities of recording the podcast. And now I sound like.
It's been gargling glass.
Very raspy.
Raspy Brooks, they called him in the jazz scene.
What are we talking about, Rob? You help me out. Save my voice.
All right, so we start off with a how you doing.
Oh, and that should be mentioned because you just said that should be mentioned. This is an explicit show.
Oh yeah. You say a couple of cuss words. So we start off with a little how you doing. So but then we get right into trailer talk. We call someone. We call Saul. All right, never mind. I can't even link these together. All right. We talk about Slippin' Jimmy, which is the Better Call Saul children's show. That's kind of weird. Little Demon from the creators of.
Well, you also missed that we talked about Pantheon. That's also going to be
Pantheon. Yeah. The visual effects department. There's someone who has something to say, who worked for Marvel, and he's none too pleased with the way they treat
this visual effects person working for Marvel talking about how terrible it is working for Marvel. You're doing great, Rob. Continue.
You think working for Professor? Who's the Magneto is bad?
This is gonna take me forever to edit.
Then we move on to the Popeye animatic that was leaked, and then no one can find it now. And Mr. Mike Moon from the Department of Adult Animation is leaving. No, there's a picture of Bench. I'm from the Department of Adult Animation. I'm here to make sure that there's enough fart jokes in this thing. Oh, yep, it reaches quota.
I just want to say that we've been recording for 9 minutes now. I really want someone to look. I want someone to look at the intro and how long the intro is. And I want you to give me some respect here for how much effort it's going to take me to edit this thing together. Also, Rob is crying right now. It's been a long day.
Oh boy.
What did we? Oh, we did pick a title.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say welcome to episode 287 of the Rubber Birdie Animation Podcast, and we're calling this one Budget Man and Intern Boy. I'm going to go pass out.
Okay, I'm going to go cry a little more.
Oh.
Tears of joy.
Oh, Mike Moon. He's leaving Netflix.
Is that a parody or something? Or
My Moon? You've never heard My Moon?
My lovely lady Moon.
Mike Moon, my man. Feist? No? Nothing?
No. I know there's like a Bruno Mars song where he's like, talking to the moon.
Mike Moon, my man, so changeable and such a lovable lamb to me.
I hope he hears this.
My care, my coat, leave on a high note.
And then like, some kind of, what do you do when there's when you have you have to keep your distance from someone?
A restraining order?
Oh yeah, that's what Mike's in. Maybe he better call Saul.
Slippin' Jimmy.
It just never sounds good.
It isn't. It's not. Spoiler alert. It sucks.
I'm Don Bluth.
I'm Harry Partridge.
Hi, I'm Tom Moore, teenage superhero.
My name's Adam Phillips.
This is Robert Valley.
And I'm in no way doing a forced plug. No, sorry. I won't say that.
And you're listening to...
Back at it.
That's right.
8 a.m. I wonder if people can hear it in the voices.
I think we have like very deep morning voices. I love. It's going away now for me. Now I'm going back to SpongeBob. But when I wake up in the morning,
you think you have a SpongeBob voice?
It goes like it's like weird. Like whenever I talk to like an authority figure or someone that I think is higher up, my voice turns like this. And that happened one time. Somebody called and I go, "Hello? Okay. All right. Oh yeah, no problem. All right, bye." And I hung up and my coworker was like, "What the hell was that?"
So you usually hear that when you have when you hear someone talk on the phone with their partner, like, "Yeah, man, I don't know, I'm just I didn't like that movie, or I like that movie, or oh, hold on a second, I'm going to pick up the phone," and they pick up, "Hey, oh yeah, okay, no problem, all right,
Yeah.
okay, love you too, okay, bye bye,
yeah, I'll pick some
up for you, bye bye," and then they hang up. They're like, that movie was fucking stupid.
I wish I could the levels.
I revisited, I think, the freelance school, the first, second, third, and fourth year episodes, because Don Bluth is all over the news right now for not death reasons, which is great, because usually when you see Don Bluth everywhere, or you see like someone, saw Bambi in the theater or something, when you see someone who is let's say a bit older pop up in your news feed, you get a little worried. But no, it's because Secret of NIMH came out in 1982, so there was that kind of retrospective. I'm sure they combined his autobiography coming out at the same time as that, I was going to say reunion, that anniversary. So he came out with that book, and so there's all these articles of Don Bluth, and I thought it was really funny. I saw this thing on Vulture, and it was like list of Don Bluth's greatest films. I was like, isn't there like 9 of them? I mean, not saying it's not a lot, but I mean, it's pretty clear. You got to have Secret of NIMH,
Let's Go to Heaven,
American Tail, and Land Before Time in the top 3. Everything else is kind of a question. You have your tops, right? There's there, and then the middle would be your, All Dogs Go to Heaven. I think people really love Anastasia. I was kind of so on it.
That's like a kind of like a cult classic, right?
Yeah, that's kind of a cult classic. But so that's what I mean, is that it is kind of I think people like it. I think Titan AE gets a bad rap, but I think we brought it up on the interview. Anyway, I was going back and I listened to that interview just because he's been all over the feed, and I just kind of wanted to remind myself of the things that we talked about on the show and the things that he shared. And it was good. It was a good interview. He shared a lot. I liked him talking about, I actually totally forgot about Donald Duckwall, and how upset I was that I didn't catch it at the time. Donald Duckwall was the producer who told him, like, you can't compete with Disney. You're going to fail. And then that's what gave him like the motivation to go, all right, well, and then he just walked out. Donald Duckwall. There was a producer at Donald Duckwall. There was a producer at Disney named Donald Duckwall, and I can't believe I didn't catch it in the moment. Yes, I can't believe it. Yeah, he was a sailor. Like, I'm just wondering which came first, right? Did Donald Duck come first, and then this guy applied for a job and like, well, we have to hire him?
Or is Donald Duck based on him? Yeah,
exactly. And I can't believe I didn't ask that in the, and I've actually never looked this up. Whatever.
Yeah.
This is a segment show. We got our own stories. I'm not gonna bring that one up. But anyway, it was cool. It was fun. I think that one was I don't remember. It was like episode 114 or 115 or something. That was great. It was really fun because we were doing those freelance school. It was first year, second year, third year, fourth year, and it was supposed to come out first week, second week, third week, fourth week, all in January. So it was supposed to be, but then there was a whole Indiegogo campaign that was coming out, and then we had the opportunity to talk to him, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to shove this in right here. So I think we interviewed, and then I cut it up and then put it up within like a couple days. I mean, it was up really quick.
I think that was our first interview.
No, it wasn't our first interview. We had done interviews before that, but it was our first. It was our first interview of someone who had a film like in the theater compete with Oscar. Like we had talked to Elliot Cowan, and he was doing the film festival circuit. After this, we had talked after Don. We had talked to Tom Moore, Robert Valley.
I remember you saying like, "Oh, you want to interview Don Bluth?" Yeah, even though I'm sure I talked on and on.
It's
completely.
so funny how little you talk. I remember. Okay, here's a little inside for you. I actually had to go around and find parts where Rob would comment a couple things throughout something that Don was saying, and then I brought it back a little earlier or later, so it sounded like he was actually interjecting in between all these things, like oh yeah, and then laughing.
I get it.
You got a little quiet. You got a little starstruck.
It's like
it's
interviewing
Donald Duckwall.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a great interview. It would just be about his name, like not even his like career.
We do. It's all fluff, all up until the end that we get our gotcha question, like why did you poke the bear and make Don Bluth leave? Anyway, I'm sure that there was other things that we want. Oh well, you're getting over COVID. I finally hung out with you. That was very nice. I finally saw you in person. You were wearing not a t-shirt that had the neck hole ripped. Like you look like you were just in a fight and someone grabbed your shirt and that like neck collar thing is just ripped off. And so I see a little part of your chest. It's like a peekaboo hole, like right on your chest.
I'm going through my squatter gutter punk phase right now. Just a very apparently band shirts that are all ripped up and messed up like this go for a lot on eBay.
Oh, sure.
Like people want to buy them and act like, yeah, I've been a fan for a long time, whatever. I mean, there was
that video that I found on TikTok and I sent you, and I was like, this is exactly what you have been telling me that you want to do every time you see someone wearing like a Slayer shirt. And you just want to go up and say, name 3 songs. Which just, it feels like such a middle school bully kind of thing to do. But I'm with you a little bit. I do struggle to not judge people for wearing.
It's like sometimes I understand the design's pretty cool, but like you have to do a little research because people are going to come up to you and be like, "Oh man, yeah."
Do you though? Do you have to? This is my honest question. Do you have to do the research if you just like the design of something and maybe they're not really around much anymore? Do you really have to? It's kind of like
I don't want to be a gatekeeper.
It's like someone wearing a t-shirt that has like Federico Fellini's face on it or something like that. You think anyone's going to come up and be like, what work has he done? You know what I mean? Hey, he's a photographer. It's all good.
Oh, Nike? Do you know the material of the laces?
Oh, did I tell you I finished season 1 of Primal?
Oh.
So I'm finally going to go into season 2.
Season 2
I'm very excited.
At all, or?
Season 2 streaming, yeah, and it's coming out weekly. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to go on to season 2. It was
season 2.
It was interesting. It was an interesting way to end because it did leave, like, season 1 left on a cliffhanger, which I thought was interesting. And it's so strange. To me, it feels like when I'm watching, I went back and I watched the first episode just because of where we get. I mean, we get, like, obviously there's, dinosaur stuff. There's caveman stuff. I mean, because these are 2 characters. But then, yeah, so there's woolly mammoth. There's some weird like vampire kind of creatures. There are kind of like monstrous ape men, but then there's also a civilization. And so you have these different groups that you're running into that kind of feels like evolution. It kind of feels like it feels like each one of these episodes, it's like you have the same two characters, but you're crossing through tens of thousands of years in each episode with the same two characters through like a fantasy land, because then we get into this place where there's magic and there's zombies and
it's just like it's a heavy metal world.
It's interesting. It's not something that you can describe to people. I usually use the example of the movie Up, where I say like if you try to describe the movie Up to people, it would make no sense. It's like a guy he loses his wife and then he attaches a bunch of balloons to his house so that he can travel, and he goes down to South America, and then he runs into a giant bird and a talking dog, and then there's a Zeppelin fight, and like if you describe that, it sounds bonkers. I mean, it is, but it's somehow not as weird. Like, you just have to see it.
The Zeppelin fight being someone wore a Zeppelin shirt and he was like, name 3 songs.
Name three songs. The last thing in this how you doing is I'm going to be traveling. So I was very concerned. I'm going to be traveling so we're recording these like early. You know, the episodes are always going up 1 week before they go wide to the public up on Patreon. So like this one is going to go up probably the middle of August to Patreon, and then wide to everyone else. But I'm going to be traveling. So I will have already been on a vacation for a week in the beginning of August.
Yeah.
By the time that you hear this. So we're doing this, like trying to record these early and prep things. And that's why we're recording before work. But hanging out with you after you just got COVID was like, just make sure you're all good. Because I swear.
That's one thing I
swear
didn't
if I get COVID again, because you know you can get it again. This whole 90-day thing, I heard someone say like, "Oh, you're protected for 90 days." No, you're not protected for 90 days. It's ridiculous. It'll bust right through. I was
90 days.
I was confident. I didn't even bring it up to you. Yeah. I trust you, but you also show up with a shirt with a ripped neck on. Just like, how careful can you be? No, it was fun. It was fun hanging out. It was a good time. So we're probably not going to be able to record in person for the next like 3 episodes. But when I get back, I'm hoping to we'll do like a weekend thing.
Yeah,
got that special episode that they don't know about, but we know about.
Oh yeah. We're cooking up some good stuff, man.
I'm also trying to cook up the calendar, the Rubber Onion calendar. Just to give you a preview, we will have already uploaded the Marcel the Shell and Mad God review, and then there's this episode, and then next week's episode is going to be a hot cocoa show that is all about career doubts and that sort of thing, which is a question that was submitted by a listener. And I think that takes us to the end of August. I think we have one more episode to go up on Patreon by that time, which is, I think, going to be a segment show. Probably animation news. We're probably going to have to we got to catch up on some stuff when we get back, I think.
Well, enjoy your travels.
Ooh, it's going to be fun. It's the first time traveling. I mean, since all this pandemic shenanigans.
Taking a plane, driving.
Oh, plane. Yeah. It will also be a first time flying. Gonna hang out. Keep our fingers crossed that we don't have another ungodly heat wave.
Oh yeah. You don't. Oh God. I mean, I will say this before we move on. Coming back from Vegas, this is gonna be my last Vegas talk on the show. But they were really, really nice at the airport. I don't know whether it was just a day, like nobody else was in there, but it was just.
What do you mean really nice? Like,
because I'm so used to TSA being like, move it, take your shoes off, put it in the damn basket,
move it, pump it.
Yeah. We're
Bop
controlled
it.
by a by a popping toy.
Move it, twist it, or like bop it, poke it. What's the? I don't remember bop it.
If you can't keep up, you lose.
You know, it's fine. Let's just go on to trailer talk. Do you try to say it with? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Trailer talk. We have a few of these things. We're gonna. Sometimes we have a trailer talk entire episode, but this part of the segment, we're just taking stories, news stories that center around the trailers that have been released, so we can respond to things like the marketing, the designs, the voice acting, stuff like that gives us kind of an insight, but, you know, also giving a little bit of the background beyond it, and our patented review of, are we going to watch it? Probably, and then not actually do that. So our first one, this is one that I saw, and it was Pantheon, which is AMC's first traditionally animated original series, which I think is funny considering another thing that we're going to talk about in a little bit. Did you see the trailer?
I did. Now, stuff like this, all right, man, I want to really support it because
Wait, you hold that, because I feel like you're about to get into something. Let me. You just skipped it entirely. Let me just say what it is first.
Oh yeah. Go. Before I just destroyed.
It has an anime look, an anime facade. The synopsis is it's a sci-fi kind of. I guess it's supposed to be a thriller, but it's a sci-fi story. It's a bullied teen who receives mysterious help from someone online. And I like how the synopsis tells us exactly who it is. I actually feel like the trailer, the trailer of the first look plays it as a kind of mystery. So if you read the synopsis, then, you know, whatever. But I'm going to read it to you anyway. Who is revealed to be soon revealed. So I guess they're saying, don't worry, not spoilers, to be her recently deceased father, David, whose consciousness has been uploaded to the cloud following an experimental destructive brain scan. So very sci-fi.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the way that he communicates through the computer is all through emoji, which is also very funny, because I feel like that's a very dad thing to try to. I'm one with the kids. There's one shot in that trailer where he sends like a dozen emojis in one big long string to try to tell a sentence, and that it feels like, yeah, that's an older thing. I don't know if kids do that now, but I know that when I first was trying out emojis, I would try to tell these big long stories with emojis. I was like, first this, then this, then this, then this.
I think we've done that a couple of times. Yeah,
we've done that. Yes.
Yeah, it might be a millennial thing,
It might be a millennial thing, but it also, considering this coming out now, it might be like a like a millennial dad thing. You know, like he's a young cool dad trying to be whatever. It's going to be on AMC, and just to let you know, it's going to come out September 1st. So it's coming out pretty soon after this episode goes up. Okay, now.
Yeah.
What's your fucking problem?
Strangling myself as I talk. I do that whenever I'm uncomfortable. All right. It's not. It's. I want to support this because we complain about animation not being taken serious, and you know the need for something
speed.
Else. The need for speed. The need for like animation to do other like adult animation to not always be like crude humor, but actually watch something that is what could be a show, but
Sure.
animated. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And but seeing this, I had no interest. I had like I seen.
Well,
I
let
feel
me
like
ask
I
you a
saw
question.
enough.
Imagine that this was live action. Imagine that this trailer was complete. It was
Yeah. Well, I would
actors in
also
a
just
room
be
on a
like,
computer. Would you be interested?
I don't know.
It's fine if you're not interested in the story.
But there's also like, I don't know. If it was live action and then like I just see a ghost trying to communicate through emojis, I don't think that'd be something I'd be interested in.
Okay, so exactly. So then you can't. I understand what you're saying. You want to be supportive of it because it is animation and it is for adults. It's being, it's taken seriously. But you're not interested in it. But you're not interested in it because of the story.
If it was like
Right. Okay, but that's fine.
Could
That's fine,
easily
because
be.
that doesn't have anything. Okay, how about the animation? Because you're also not a fan of the anime look.
It's a very American anime too. Like
Yes.
so
It's produced by Titmouse. Okay,
it
continue.
does. It has a high level student animation
Feel.
Yeah, like
I get you.
story wise, like I could see this being a short in some animation festival.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I see that.
And
What do you think? What do you think it is about that screams that out to you? Because I totally know what you're talking about.
maybe just
It is high quality. It is high quality, and it looks very well done. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
I feel like it's the theme. It's the like the first half of just the girl talking to the mom walking in the room. The mom does like a weird walk out of the room.
Oh, where she like turns and runs out?
Yeah. It like it reminded me of something like a short
Sure.
a thesis.
Well, so okay, now
Maybe the
before
pacing,
that
too.
turn and that walkout, there's a close up of her face, and there's one thing that is kind of pervasive in a lot of animation now, which is the non-weighted line. The lines are very, very, very thin, and I can't tell if this is a compression issue or if this is I can't. It feels like the lines are tonal lines and they're not blackout lines, but they're very, very, very thin outlines. And then you have this kind of soft palette, very amber palette. I get it. I get the. It feels very structured and very very tight, but I know what you mean about the American anime, specifically student film kind of look. It does look like that, and I can't put my finger on exactly why. I feel like it might be about that. I would have to do probably a little bit more research, a little bit more comparative research to really narrow it down. Okay, so aside from that, it has that look, but some people like that look. So let's just play hypothetical. Let's say you like the animation style. Would that be enough to get over what you think is a silly premise?
No, because I don't. I think this the story in general. I'm not like a huge sci-fi fan.
No, you.
Believe it or not. Yeah. So even if this looked like Primal, maybe I'll have a little interest. But I don't know. Maybe I think like if I were to work on this project, would I be happy? And I feel like I wouldn't.
Do you remember there was a? Oh man, now let's see, Sean. Oh, what's his name? Bacalao or something? Buckaloo.
Oh, bacalao is like a Spanish dish for fish.
What's that?
It's a Spanish dish for fish.
A dish for a fish. Love Streams. Do you remember that? Love Streams. I think we saw Love Streams. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I saw it at Ottawa. Anyway, it's an animated short by Sean Buckaloo. Is two people flirt and they create a relationship through AOL Instant Messenger, through their avatars
I
on
did
AOL
see
Instant
that.
Messenger. Okay, so that was at Animation Block Party then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Those scenes where they're communicating through the computer kind of reminded me a little bit of that. And when you said student film kind of, it's not a student film, but it is like, it does feel like it could be an animated short either. It's got to go crazy violent in order to be on Love, Death, and Robots. But it does feel like one of those short premises. The reason that it interests me is because, I guess, of that feeling and the feeling that AMC greenlit this as like their first foray into this adult animated realm, and how they're going to be able to expand on that over the course of an entire season. Because I feel like the teaser that is uploaded, it is like an animated short because it's not a trailer for the whole season. It's just like a teaser that sets up the premise. Do you remember? I mean, I reviewed Undone. I don't think you liked it, right?
I thought it was okay, but I couldn't like get past it for some reason. I watched like
probably the same things that you're talking about now. You know, there's a visual thing. Right. And I think a lot of people have that against rotoscoping. I know I do, but I liked the way it was used. I don't have anything against any medium or any look. It just has to be used in the right way. I feel like this design style does fit this a little bit better than maybe some other things. And I think the premise is fine. So I'm a little bit more interested in it than you are. I did try to look up this guy, Craig Silverstein, who is the creator. He's the creator. It's created, written by. He's the executive producer. He's the showrunner. I tried to look up some of the other stuff that he's done, and it's Nikita, Terra Nova, and Turn, Washington's Spies. Have you ever heard of any of these?
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, neither have I. I'm not. I mean. Like, I know Nikita, but I remember La Femme Nikita. I don't remember the 2010 series. There's also a show that he produced called The Invisible Man that ran for 2 years, and it looks like a CW show.
I don't think anyone's
He also produced 30 episodes of Bones. So, I don't know. Seems, and of The Dead Zone. So it seems like he does have this kind of experience in mystery unfolding kind of stories. Yeah. I don't know anything about Turn, Washington's Spies. That is a silly, stupid name for a TV show. But whatever. It's just the name.
Could be Rage Against the Machine kind of band name.
Turn, Washington Spies. So the voice cast. Oh, were you going to make a joke?
Oh, no.
Okay. The voice cast is okay. Paul Dano is in it. There you go. You get your Paul Dano. Maud Apatow, Taylor Schilling, Laura Pulver, Carrie Stoll. Remember Carrie Stoll? He's the bad guy in Ant-Man.
Oh.
Aaron Eckhart, Rosemary DeWitt, Daniel Day Kim from Lost, Chris Diamantopoulos, the voice of Mickey, as we always say, but he's also that guy fucks on Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Ron Livingston, which if we cross over to Mike Judge, we got that Office Space. He was in Office Space. Katie Chang, but then William Hurt. This is like his last performance, I think, before he passed away. Oh. Anyway, I want to check it out. I want to see, I watch a lot of things on AMC recently. So, yeah, I'll check it out.
I mean,
see what they got.
It would be nice to watch something animated that gives me the same feeling of like Better Call Saul. I can't wait for that next. Oh my God, I'm at the edge of my seat. Maybe Primal.
Oh, I know.
But I kind of wish maybe, I don't know, maybe they should do like a Better Call Saul animated kind of thing. Maybe, maybe that's what I need.
Oh. Are you?
Maybe they reflect on his.
Did you see my message?
Moving along. Yeah, Steven just got he just took out the stick and poked me.
It's like next story. Let's go.
But Slippin' Jimmy. Now this kind of been a thing for a couple of months. But
not a porn star.
Yeah. Or a Primus song. Kind of sounds like. But it's now to be fair, I saw one episode a while ago because this has probably been out for like 5 months or something like that. And but we've just been really into Better Call Saul season 6. We're waiting for and it's out now, and so we kind of had some kind of interest in the animated series. Every review I've seen was just complaining about it, and I thought maybe I don't know. From what I've seen, I was kind of expecting something like it kind of has this Hey Arnold look,
Right. It is a mini series that is all up. Like all the episodes were uploaded. There's what is it? It's like 6 episodes, something like that. Yeah, 6 episodes. They're all uploaded on AMC Plus. That channel, if you have that. We're just going to talk about the trailer, and there was also the kind of preview episode that they had released, which is taken down now for everyone. It got a lot of flack for being really bad and really embarrassing. And of course, you got to go into it thinking, all right, this is obviously not Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul was also not Breaking Bad, but I think that Better Call Saul is a lot closer to Breaking Bad tonally. Yeah. It doesn't get there quickly, but it definitely gets there. Like his descent into the world of crime. But Slippin' Jimmy is when he's young, and it's a cartoon, and it's just these like antics. And I guess I could get it if this is like in his head, or I don't know. It's just so hard. Even if you divorce yourself from everything in that realm, it's so hard to look past it and go, all right, as long as you just give me something funny and fun, but it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, they apparently most of the episodes are parodies of movies, and I feel like this could work. And it seems so out of left field of why would they do this? Who is this for? But they could sprinkle Easter eggs in there.
I don't even think.
Show.
Yes, you can, but I don't even think you need to do that. It just needs to be funny. I don't think the animation is bad. I think the animation's fine. It looks fine. It looks like something that would be on TV. It's not very impressive.
Yeah,
but it's fine. It's totally fine. And fine is a perfectly good place to be.
But it could be something more.
It could be something more. And if that's the fascinating part to me is I don't know who this is for. And we're going to just talk about the trailer because the trailer is the thing that is supposed to get you to, or the teaser rather, it's supposed to be the thing that is going to get you to watch it. And to me, it was like, there's nothing funny. If they are doing an homage, which they are, so like that, the snowball fight one is clearly a Western homage, but it's not, it's somehow still missing. Like you need to go further, maybe? I don't know. Does it make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
I mean, and Westerns are usually hot environments.
No, but that's the thing is you could do it the other way around. That's totally fine. Because they're dealing with snowball fight.
That's true.
Showdown.
From what I gather, I mean, they did have elements of, him being smarter than the other kids. But for all I know, this probably does happen. I don't know. But maybe it should have been him kind of working with bullies and trying to almost con them out of their money just to kind of like...
Yeah, the only thing that I really...
school lawyer kind of thing.
Yeah, the only thing that I really saw very much was him... like basically conning his friend to do things for him. I don't know. The episode that they had released. I mean, they definitely should not have released that episode because it was very dry. Nothing really happened. I think I brought this up before. Have you seen the show White Collar? It was one of those like it was one of those very safe comfort viewing things on USA back in.
See, I already knew USA.
Yeah, right? It's that USA era of like all this stuff is just safe. You just put it on, you watch it. White Collar White Collar was fun, just because it was two people. You got to have two fun people to watch. You got to have two people that like bounce off one another really well. But the main character, played by Matt Bomer, he's this con man, right? And you learn a little bit of his backstory, and you see him as a kid start to learn the con. And then there's another character that's in there that's also a con man. You see him when he's younger, and he starts to learn the con as well. And I couldn't stop thinking about that when I saw this, where you're missing that portion of it. Like I'm not getting that. I'm not getting the Slippin' Jimmy part of it, where he's kind of, weaseling his way in. And maybe it was just the thing that they showed, but that's kind of what Trailer Talk is about. It's more about the marketing than it is about the show itself. So it's not a review, because the trailer and the premiere episode that released made me not want to watch it. Like, specifically made me want to avoid it. And I think that's what happened to everyone. I don't know a single person who watched it. Definitely no animator.
Yeah, nobody really talks about it. It was just kind of like a thing that people shared for a while. And, I think Tom Sawyer, his story is like a better Slippin' Jimmy kind of story.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yes. I might go Huck Finn.
Yeah.
But yeah, because, I get it. I get the thing you're going for. But let me just read some of these YouTube comments. Can I?
Wait.
I wanna do
Yeah.
this. Okay. This show is almost as good as Morbius. I don't know if you saw Morbius, the movie. Bob Odenkirk didn't get a heart attack on set just for you to do this. I feel like this is a situation where a dislike button would be very interesting. And then I love the part where Jimmy said, "It's slipping time," and slipped all over them.
I did see that comment. Yeah.
Well, but did you know that I just looked up on IMDb for Slippin' Jimmy, and the thing right underneath it is Slippin' Kimmy, and I really, really fucking hope that they do not produce that cartoon. They at least need to come up with a different name.
I changed the name of that.
But I want to say I like this one. If I'm just going to leave off on this one, can't wait for Heisen Babies, or the cute cartoon with Walter White and Hank Schrader going on adorable adventures.
I mean, I wouldn't
Heisen Babies
make their meth turn blue.
They cook their meth in the crib.
But I think there's this is what I would envision a Better Call Saul animated thing, kind of like Hey Arnold. But also have it in the tone of Moral Oral, where it starts off like a regular, funny kind of kid show, a little hint of adult jokes, whatever. But then throughout the episodes, it just gets, he goes from like helping bullies to, like being the getting bullies out of detention to like having to hide a body by like the 6th episode or something. I don't know, something really like where it escalates to.
That's interesting, because then it would mirror what happens when he's older. Maybe instead of hiding bodies, maybe it would be all stuff that you would encounter when you're younger. So obviously you have to do the thing of like, there's a bully that keeps stealing your lunch money, and then he cons the bully into losing all the money that he stole, or investing all the money that he stole in like some scam. So he gets all of his money back. Okay, you got that. He needs some help with someone. Then he needs to partner up with someone else. So yeah, he gets someone out of detention so that person can either be his bodyguard or can go do a job for him, or he sets someone up to do something for him, and then he gets in. Now, these might be all stories in the show. The point is, the teaser and the episode that they released are so bad that we'll never know.
For what I've seen in reviews, a teacher turns into like the Exorcist kind of situation. She farts and someone makes a crypto joke.
Let me read. I'm just going to read the synopsis right here. First episode, Fistful of Snowballs. I feel like we're really coming down hard on it. I just want to say, obviously, the people who worked on it, you have no control over it. And I'm sure that there was an idea about what this should be. And I got to imagine that the reason that this got the way that it is because you have a property like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and maybe there was a little bit of buyer's remorse, but they were too deep into production, and it just maybe got a little mangled into like what exactly are we making? Maybe there wasn't a consensus exactly on what they were making before it came out. There's a dozen reasons why it could happen, but fistful of snowballs. Slip and Jimmy engages in some hardcore slipcanery. That's supposed to be a chicanery joke in this action-packed Western homage. Second, The Exorcister. Something is haunting Sister Beth, and only 2 boys in detention can save her from a hell past hell. Third episode, After Bedtime. This is the one that they, I think, released as a special episode that I watched. When it's after hours on the streets of Chicago, Jimmy and Marco don't have to look for trouble. Trouble finds them. City Flights. In this silent comedy, Jimmy McGill braves a city full of enormous dogs, angry policemen, and dangerous trains to get a heartfelt gift for his big brother Chuck. That's a good idea. These aren't bad ideas for a cartoon. Speed Date. There's a bomb on this school bus, and it's hidden in Jimmy McGill's heart. Can he ask out his crush, Dawn Marie, before the clock runs out? Or will his nemesis, Trent, get to her first? And then the final episode, Cool Hand Jimmy, which is clearly a Cool Hand Luke reference. At Camp Reformation, they'd seen every kind of man until they saw Jimmy McGill. Okay, listen. These are all good premises for episodes, and they're all very clearly based on movies, either tones or movies. What was in the teaser?
A snowball fight.
Right. But why would, I mean, we've seen snowball fight. I saw a snowball fight in Bob's Burgers. It's great. It's very fun. If you release that, I'd be very happy. Why did this one not work?
Because I don't think it was a great example of what we've been watching with Better Call Saul. And of course, it's not going to be Better Call Saul, but I think it was more confusing than anything.
So I'm just going to say that he goes through this whole thing where he's trying to explain, it's this snowball thing. The showdown is him going 1 and 3. There's 3 of us and 3 of you and 1 of me. And then they get upset and they go, he's trying to make us do math. And they go to throw a snowball at him. But then he is able to best them in the snowball fight by throwing 3 snowballs all at once and hitting them all in the face. Where's the con? Right? It's like his ability to do the thing took away from the whole point of him trying to con out of it.
He hired some bullies or some bums on the street and offered something, and then he just sits back while somebody else fights his war. That would have been a slipping Jimmy move.
Exactly. Okay, I think that's enough to say about that. Moving on. we have another trailer here, and this one is called Little Demon. Little Demon is an animated horror comedy from Dan Harmon.
I saw the trailer.
And
I liked it a lot. I think
yeah,
it has a lot of cool death scenes in there.
Yep.
I think it was an adult comedy that didn't seem like kind of a low-hanging fruit, kind of like, it seemed fun. It just seems like a fun concept. But
now sorry.
It also is in the same kind of thing where I can never do my animated series Nuisance the Evil Doer because
you can't do that because Little Nicky came out. But this is another thing that I wanted to say. I should have. I kind of buried the joke there because it says from horror comedy series from Rick and Morty co-creator, and you look at it and it doesn't look like Rick and Morty. It actually looks it looks a little bit more like it was produced by like Augenblick or something, where it's actually Shadow Machine that I think did the animation. It's Jersey Films, Second Avenue, Shadow Machine, and FX Productions. I think Shadow Machine probably did the animation. Look at that. And I was getting obviously ugly American vibes from it, but there's a lot of like devil stuff. I just want to read the premise. I kind of don't want to read this premise. Let me see if I can find another premise. Okay, all right. In Little Demon, 13 years after being impregnated by the devil, played by Danny DeVito, a reluctant mother, Aubrey Plaza, and her Antichrist daughter, played by Lucy DeVito, attempt to live an ordinary life in Delaware, but are constantly thwarted by monstrous forces, including Satan, who yearns for custody of his daughter's soul. Great premise. Very simple. Great setup. Even the trailer, when he like finds her, when he sees her, and he's like, you're a girl. The future is female. Like he thought the Antichrist was gonna have a son. He's like, oh, I have a daughter. The future is female. First of all, Danny DeVito being the voice of Satan. No, perfect.
Yeah,
it's a great pick because he has that great voice. Aubrey Plaza playing the mom, she also has that voice of some like you could see her being just weird enough for this to happen. You know, it's this you don't.
Yeah,
and then
they could have easily made her the daughter, where she sounds like a slacker daughter or something like that.
Exactly, and I think I like this for her much better. The trailer that's it's going to be on FX, right? The trailer, the animation looks fine. It doesn't look great, but it looks fine. And I'm talking for like the talkie scenes and stuff. But when she gets all demonic and she kind of goes crazy, I like it. It looks good. I think they do a pretty good job of, like you said, the deaths. You know, the ripping the skin off the guy. Yeah, it's got a good style to it, but more importantly, I think the voices really work. The premise sounds good to me, and also makes it a little bit more difficult for me to continue with Three's Horrible. The thing is, anything monster related or devil related, you got Ugly Americans. Have you heard of that? What was the? Devil May Care.
I know. I never.
Devil May Care. So Devil May Care came out during the pandemic. It's an animated show. It's up on Sci-Fi. Devil hires a social media coordinator to rebrand hell as the ultimate place to live, and the two form an unlikely friendship. That's the idea. Alan Tudyk plays the devil. Another great choice for a voice actor to play the devil. I don't know. There's a lot of like devil stuff out now. It just feels like, you probably can't do Nooses the Evildoer.
No, I mean, unless this is really
the thing is, you
and they're
could
similar.
But you could though, because there's so many of these shows. They're constantly getting greenlit.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack McBrayer plays God, by the way. Which
see, what's interesting about this
perfect.
devil? I mean, I'm sure they cut to him being a demon form, whatever. But it must be difficult to have have a devil character without making him look like a fun devil guy, you know? Like having him look like
I guess.
But that's also what makes it interesting.
I guess, yeah. He just looks like we should get into that. He just looks like a kind of like a suburban dad. You know, he's got this cardigan, he's got a collared shirt, and but he can, obviously he's the devil, right? So he can transform.
Yeah. I mean, props to them for not making, because I saw a video of someone explaining why every time Danny DeVito voices a character, they have the character look like Danny DeVito. It's like, yes, he doesn't have to, it's his voice. You don't have to animate him looking like the short guy all the time. He could be anything because it's his voice. See him.
I mean, like H. John Benjamin doesn't look anything like Archer.
So yeah, it was good to see a voice. I didn't know his daughter did kind of acting and stuff like that. Wasn't aware. I thought his daughter was Matilda.
Oh yeah, no, she's a writer now. Anyway, I'm interested in it. It looks good. I actually think I am going to watch it because it seems fun. And it seems, like I said, the premise is really solid. That's exactly where I think, to me, these 3 trailers speak to first of all, the power of the premise, the power of the look, but
The power of Christ
where
compels you.
to what's that? Yes, exactly. The first one, you didn't like the look, you didn't like the premise, right? Yeah. I'm interested in seeing where the premise goes over the course of the season, but I like sci-fi stuff, but I'm not into the look. I have to get past it. And I feel like that's something that I had to do with Undone as well, but I actually ended up really liking what they did with the style, even though in the beginning I wasn't really into the rotoscope thing, but it ended up looking good.
Yeah.
Then you have Slip and Jimmy, which looks like a cartoon. I mean, the animation's not great, but it looks fine. The designs are good, and the premise could be good, and the premise of the episodes are good. But when you actually see it, the sneak peek, the teaser, the trailer, like when you see that, it just doesn't really pay off on it. So how much can you really gather? Everything that we try to do in trailer talk and everything that we try to do when we're looking at the trailers and seeing the premises, it really does just come down on, okay, first you have to get me interested. Then you have to pay off on it. I think the biggest problem for Slip and Jimmy is that they should have just released a trailer that was a series of clips, the best jokes that they got over the entire miniseries, those entire 6 episodes. Do not release a full thing. Do not release that trailer. Hide it behind, and maybe people would have gotten the opportunity to watch it. But they only would have watched maybe 1 episode, and then the people who it appealed to, obviously they would continue watching. But once you get them in, you got to pay off on that. And I don't think that it did. I have a feeling Pantheon will. I am just going to assume that the ending is going to be frustrating, just because most sci-fi stories like that are. This one feels more like it is a solid, long-term premise that I can get behind.
Yeah, it feels like there's some substance to it. And I
don't really need a good finale, I guess, to the season. I just need it to be episodic and fun.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a lot of fun, disposable cartoon deaths in here. It's easy on the eyes. Color palette's fun. It's a lot of variety of colors, but it also it just kind of looks gray a little bit. I kind of like that.
Well, now it's time for animation news of the week. I really got you on that one. We talked a lot about those trailers. We actually don't have a ton of time before we have to get to work, but animation news of the week. I mean, this stuff, obviously, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's not exactly the week, but we are taking some of the stories that, let's say, look like they are something that is indicative of things that might be a little bit longer, that has come up recently, and we're just talking about it this week. And we got 3 stories. One has to do with an industry-wide thing. Another one has to do with this kind of like, secret underground, sneaky kind of thing. And then the other one has to deal with a continual problem that keeps coming up on this episode. So let's try to run through these before I have to get on my first meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So first story. Did you see, there was an article that was written by Anonymous. It's Anonymous in Hollywood is the thing. It was written up on Vulture, and it's called "I'm a Visual Effects Artist and I'm Tired of Getting Pixel Fucked by Marvel."
This seems to be
Did you read it?
I did, yeah. It seems to be a reoccurring problem in this industry with just kind of treating visual artists awful. And I mean, this is a similar story that, I mean, to a less degree, I'm sure we've been through these scenarios.
Well, why don't you share some of the things that they brought up in it?
Some of the examples were just completely redoing scenes that were like very close to deadlines. Some of it was like seeing a work in progress and I'm only seeing it as a work in progress, but not thinking that's the final look.
Well, what they would do is what this person was saying is that some of these directors, they have no experience in visual effects. So usually when you're producing visual effects or something, you'll give a work in progress, some sort of blocking shot or something that's not completely final. It's a rough. And the director has a hard time looking at that and seeing what the end result could and will be. And so Marvel asks for this visual effects company to submit a final render of this particular shot or this particular scene way before they ever should, because you build up. You're supposed to send in roughs and then kind of like fine tune things and get them before you go on to final stuff. So they request that they submit a final render of a scene so that the director can react to it as it will be in the final film, because they don't have the imagination to go beyond that. And it is a tough thing if you haven't had experience in it. But then you end up with, obviously, the situations where sometimes the visual effects director, who is part of the studio, is then actually directing that scene because there's deadlines to meet. That was the other thing, is that Marvel has this big cinematic Marvel universe where they say this movie's coming out this date, this movie's coming out this date, and everything falls on that. They have marketing and toys and games and all sorts of things that have to coincide with an exact time. And so when you're that strict on your release date, but then also you have this working relationship with your visual effects houses where you're going to either change things at the last minute, someone saying that they could change the entire third act, right? You do something like that, you're not flexible in your release date. What it does is it squeezes the visual effects house, because if you're changing them late in the process, it only affects the post part of the production, right? You're not really, and even if you go back and you do reshoots, the time between when you finish shooting to the reshoots is quite a lot. And the biggest challenge at that point is probably scheduling and getting people back at it to the reshoot. Reshoots after a while are very difficult, but what it really does is it puts the pressure on that post part of the process, because they're at the very end. And he actually brought up the example of Black Panther. It's how you end up with these scenes in Black Panther where they're jumping around and fighting all cartoony, and it might look fine in another project, but the DP, the director of photography, is not involved in that. And when certain people are not involved in that part of the process or whatever you're doing, you're breaking the visual language of the film. So you have your live action shots, you have your the core shots of the narrative, and then you have these visual effect shots that look like they just don't match at all.
Yeah.
And it just puts a lot of pressure on them. Did you read any of the comments?
No, I didn't read the comments for it.
I mean, the comments are just like so frustrating. There's one person
Get a new
that says,
job.
Yeah, work can suck, but a graphic designer isn't a director. Like, which obviously most of the people replying is like, this isn't talking about graphic design. This is talking about visual effects. Completely different job. So obviously, don't listen to this person. It's ridiculous. But then this person says, your company is the biggest reason you're working in these conditions. You literally won the bid with the best price, while other companies were honest in what they should be compensated with. You won at a price. What that does is, yes, the visual effects houses, and we've talked about this many times before, but they have to bid for how much it's going to cost to do this whole job. So it's an entire job. And in freelance, we might say that. We might look at something and say $2,000, $5,000, whatever it is for a particular project. And that's where we get into something called scope creep, which is where it ends up, they just go, oh, let me just change this little thing and change this little thing. Or can we add this character? Can we change this? The term in visual effects and in CG animation is pixel fucking. And that's when they're dealing with every tiny little pixel. They have a note on every little thing. And the whole process slows down. Yes, in a sense, if you bid too low to do the work, then you are partly responsible for creating this immediate situation where you're in, like, you know what's going to happen. But the other thing is they brought up this part in the story where this person was working at a visual effects house, or has a visual effects house. I didn't look up who the person was. They got a shot from another house that couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And then that place is now blacklisted by Marvel, so they're not going to get any of that extra work.
Yeah.
If you get high profile work, you're going to be more likely to get more animators, more staff. You're going to get people want to work on cool projects, and they want to work on projects that are going to be cool in their reel. Marvel's so big and so popular that people want to work on the Marvel film. So you need to work on these kinds of things in order to raise the visibility of your company, and that also gets a better group of staff that will actually work with you. A lot of times they're the young staff that maybe haven't done this before, but you're going to be a place that people are going to want to work. Then you have to do the other jobs that get the money. But if Marvel is taking up all of your time, then you're between a rock and a hard place. You know, there's no good solution there. You're blaming one part of the process for the systematic issue, the visual effects.
Did I read it correctly?
I just wanted to...
A staff of 10 people?
Well, so they're not doing it all themselves, right? What he's talking about is talking about maybe a series of shots. Like Marvel will go to... The big example, I think, is like Weta and Digital Domain both worked on The Incredible Hulk in the Avenger movies, but in different ways. So like one of them might do most of the close-up shots, and the other one might do most of the wider action shots. So they're like two different kind of... Oh, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it wasn't Incredible Hulk. Maybe it was Thanos. But same idea. You know, it might be same character, but it's kind of different shots. One is going to focus on those close-up shots so that they have to render things differently. You have to get those wrinkles right, you know, a little bit of stubble, you know, you got to get the subsurface scattering of the skin and all that luminance, and you got to get everything right there. But the wide shots are different, and the skills are different. You know, you need like subtle performance and detailed motion capture for that kind of thing. And then the wider shots, you probably need a little bit more, a little bit more of an animator touch to it.
Yeah. So
it maybe what they're talking about, if they have like 10 people, they're really talking about a particular version of a shot or a particular thing that they're doing. They might do, you know, the spaceship, you know, explosions. There might be some effect that they're doing throughout the film that they're the ones that do that kind of effect, you know, that kind of thing.
I'm just thinking about, you know, when they were animating the whole Thanos thing, they were like, he's fucking right. Thanos is right.
Just wanted to lay waste to half of the... Sure. I mean, I can see people being very pissed off. I was just talking about this weekend because I read this and it just comes up, and I was talking to people who are not animators, and this is similar in any industry, in anything that has studios or service companies doing things for large corporations, right? So, you know, big businesses, you know, McDonald's franchises, whatever. You have big businesses that are asking for, build this thing for me, make this thing for me, ship this thing for me. You as a service company are going to have to adapt to the needs, and the you're going to have to compete with the amount of people in that pool of pitches. So you have a bunch of people that are all trying to get involved in the Marvel movies because of what I said. And then you have things like, we're not even talking about competing with places like Canada that will have subsidies where they might be able to ask for a higher price because there's because the Canadian government will give money back to the Hollywood production company so that the net payout is less, whereas maybe certain places, at least in the United States, American companies will not have the similar type subsidies, so they'll have to just bid lower so that the net price that their Marvel production company is paying out is not as much. Anyway, so they have to keep bidding lower and lower and lower, and they have to meet these deadlines. And I guess, in a sense, that this stuff gets out there, but we've been talking about this for years. Remember Rhythm and Hues?
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole story with, what was that Tiger movie?
Life of Pi. It's a Tiger movie. Life of Pi, yeah.
Yeah.
And we brought this up. They won the Oscar that year for, I think it was their second Oscar, and that was the year they were going bankrupt.
Yeah.
And they started saying, there was all these protesters that were outside, and they started saying, there's a problem in our industry right now, and this is for all the people that they started playing the Jaws theme. That was the year that they did the Jaws theme. I know I've brought this up on the podcast a dozen times, but the other thing is the cinematographer for Life of Pi won for best cinematography that year. Did not thank Rhythm and Hues. Ang Lee won for best director for Life of Pi that year. Did not thank Rhythm and Hues. Didn't thank the visual effects artist who did it, who earlier on in that same night got played off stage when they were trying to talk about the problem in the visual effects industry, that there was a protest going. So after that, at least for us, all of our news feeds were all green squares.
Oh, I remember that.
I mean, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's just going to be a reoccurring story. And it's weird because the effects artists are the movie. Without them, the movie's just actors in front of a green screen. So it's weird. It's a weird dynamic. That's why I have a solution to this problem before we wrap up.
Oh,
I'm going to pitch my movie Budget Man. His sidekick, unpaid intern. And the most low budget blockbuster.
And they have to defeat their nemesis, Scope Creep, the Scope Creep.
And how he's like so not Bruce Wayne. He's dirt poor, and he has to build his fortress through crowdfunding.
That's right. Yes. His special move is the Kickstarter.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Let's green screen this. I mean, green light this. Anyway, another solution is just cancel the movie completely and do something different, like Emojis, animated movie. Popeye.
But you know what? Wonderful.
Remember,
wonderful. I got to do my silent clap.
Gandhi Garanowski.
Wow, say that name again.
Gandhi Daranowski.
Wait, is this like your Aaron Daranowski thing? Gandhi Tartakovsky.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, he was director of. He made Dexter's Laboratory, Primal. There was a whole Popeye thing coming out many years ago. Went away. The Emoji Movie kind of took over that for some reason. But very recently, there was an animatic put out to the world, kind of circulating everywhere, and then taken down. And then one person was like, "Hey, came with a trench coat. I got the leak here." And then you would try to watch it there. Oh, I lost it. Hey, over here. I got your leak right here.
Get there.
Okay, I watched very little of it. I watched maybe the first 15 minutes of it, and I was like, I'm going to watch this later. Everyone has the same story. I'm going to watch this later. And they lost it. Did you watch any of it?
I did, and I can still.
Oh, I noticed this trench coat you were wearing.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. It was me. I was the one who put it up. I didn't watch the whole thing, but because it was put up very quickly, and it was also put up at a time where like I wasn't able to actually watch it.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about this, first of all, remember when we talked about it? So I wasn't thrilled with the animation style of the Popeye trailer. I know everyone was crazy about it. They just thought it was amazing, and it was believe me, I understand. I didn't even go back and listen to what I said, but I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, it's great what they can do, but I'm not. It just doesn't thrill me. It didn't. No, it wasn't. I thought it was just too. Go. It was too movie. It was too and the camera's flying all around and like going under things. It was just, a wacky inflatable balloon man arms waving kind of thing for me. I know rubber hose animation, but it was a little too much that with camera hijinks, I guess, going around. And I feel like if they were to do it now, maybe what might work a little bit better is actually a throwback style where you remember we got really into those I forget what they were called now, but it was the that Fleischer invention where they would make the set like a looping set around a Lazy Susan, around a circle, and then just take pictures of it going around. And so you'd get this live action this little miniature real set, and then animate on top of that, or at least show the cells of the animation on top of that. It looked really, really good. And even now when you go back and you look at it, you're like, wow, that looks amazing. Why didn't we do more of this?
Seeing Popeye walk in that cave, interesting to look at, especially for that time. It just so
incredible. Unique. And I'm sure it has something to do with patents and sort of thing. But I mean, I feel like you could. I would have wanted, I guess, to see them replicate that kind of feel, that kind of style. Less of the camera flying around. I guess to me, it felt like. It just didn't interest me. It was way too much going on, and I wanted maybe more of his character and stuff. So when I was watching some of this animatic, this is what I'm getting at. I liked it a lot better, like a lot better, and I have no idea what animatic version this is in terms of like when they stopped.
Yeah,
but. Whatever it is, this version, I was into it. Whatever I saw, I was into it.
Now, the look wise, or was the story?
No, because it's a storyboard, right? So like, I'm not. Yeah. I'm just going off of just the story beats that I was watching. Yeah. It was a bit more manageable as a movie, right? It was a bit because the thing that they released was like this animated short, and it was just way too much going on. And for me, I felt like my brain was overheating as I was my eyes were like going back and forth watching all this stuff, and the friction of actually moving my eyes back and forth was making my head heat up.
Yeah. I mean, it was
really no joke, no laughter at that visual. I said I'm moving my eyes back and forth, and you're like. Oh yeah.
Well, of course, I'm visualizing
I see.
you like
obviously.
the clock on the wall, the cat clock.
Tick, 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 tick.
But I was also gonna make a "you got punched by Popeye" joke, but it was hard to get to. Anyway, but I think do you think the outcome of this was from the studio? Did they push this out there, trying to do a Deadpool, where it will kind of create this buzz enough to get back on this?
Oh, you're talking the animatic?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. It's possible that they also just released it, I don't know, just because they've been sitting on it for so long and they thought that maybe it's been long enough to where they're not going to get, if they had released it right away, maybe Sony would have like come after them real hard, and maybe they won't search as much because
enough time has
I don't know. It's possible. Maybe a Deadpool thing. I don't know. And it might work. People might go, "Oh yeah, Popeye. We should do like a Popeye thing." And I don't think that they're necessarily against a Popeye movie. I think that they didn't like his Popeye movie.
But it's weird because he seemed like, from what I've seen from a little bit of the animatic and some of the character designs throughout the years of people sharing, it looked like a fun. He looks like someone who's watched Popeye growing up.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I definitely didn't get like, oh, this guy doesn't get it thing. It just felt I don't know. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There were a lot of cinematic angles, which is obviously it's a movie. There was a lot of insert shots. There was a lot of like insert reaction shots. There was I don't know. It just felt weird. It just felt weird to me. It didn't work for me, but I would have seen it, obviously.
Did you like the Raining Men joke?
It's raining men! How peculiar.
No. But I would have watched it. It's just that thing. I wasn't as into that. I was a little disappointed by the animation of it. But it's not like you can't pivot. If they really had a problem with that, they could have pivoted. As the way he tells it, they had a screening, and this is where the Sony hack was going on. And so all this was happening. They had a screening. They watched it. And everyone that was there was like, oh, great. Yeah, that's great. And there was no comments. There was no conversation at all. They just got up and they left. And he was like, oh, this is bad. Like, he knew if you have no notes, this is bad, because they don't care to get into it, Yeah. And then I think it was, he wasn't getting anything. And then he messaged, I guess, Amy Pascal, right? He messaged her and said, what's the deal? Just tell me. And she said, quote, look, Gendy, we love you. We just don't like Popeye.
Wait, them rascals, they double-crossed me.
And that was it. And it doesn't mean that Popeye is dead at Sony. I think they just didn't, at the time, there was a lot going on. Maybe they were looking at, I don't know why they shifted to the Emoji Movie. That's so embarrassing. I know.
And I think Emojis was a lot bigger back then. But
well, no, it's back again because we have a show where a ghost dad talks
Cloud
through
Dad.
all emojis. Cloud Dad, yes, exactly.
Popeye's hard to sell because, for one, you don't want your kids coming out punching each other in the face out of the theater. And it doesn't make women look great, like she kind of just easily falls in love with Bluto and then goes back to Popeye, and then she kind of needs help, and Bluto takes Olive Oil away and she's like, help, but then like she gets like Stockholm syndrome and just finds like she likes him anyway, and then Popeye has to win her back by fighting, so it promotes like toxic masculinity.
Wow, look at you.
I'm so woke that I just notice these things.
Hashtag Rob so woke.
Woke Rob. I woke up this morning.
woke Rob. That also what's going on right now. Yes, we've been recording for.
But of course, it's all the things I love about Popeye.
Hour and a half.
So I wouldn't change a thing about it. Oh, and also he smokes. Popeye's pretty awesome, let me tell you. But I feel like this would have been a good solution to Popeye and kind of bring that character back. But yeah, I mean, he also has a very shady past of racism and stuff as well.
It's not really a shady past. It's his past. Like yes, it's not a great thing to.
But what cartoon was it
revisit
back then? Come.
Well, unfortunately, yeah, you go back far enough, and I think everything, it was a tinge of everything.
I'm like the worst Popeye PR person. He might be racist and sexist and a bit violent, but I think he should be your next cartoon movie child icon again.
So let's make a movie with literal depictions of walking, talking shit.
Yeah, I like the poop.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I guess that's all there is to say about that. I mean, if you had an opportunity to watch it, good for you. I'm sure that it is elsewhere, but I think I probably would have liked it. I think the thing is that what I saw from at least the animatic, obviously the whole movie couldn't be like that. The big thing is about story. You know, if you're, how are you going to develop the characters? How are you going to develop the relationships between these very popular characters? And I think that, you know, I think from what I saw in the animatic, it made me feel a lot better about where it was going versus the animation that I saw.
I mean, I like the animation. Maybe
I know you did
get to see this full animatic.
Yeah, maybe. Well, moving on, our last animation news story. This one, maybe we'll be a bit quick about it. It's Mike Moon, the director of adult animation, is leaving Netflix. He's not net fixing anything at Netflix. He's leaving at the end of the month to pursue other opportunities, is what he said. Okay. The only reason I even put this on here, and again, we'll be quick about it, is just because it feels like every single week there is a new story about Netflix, and specifically Netflix animation. It's like this person's leaving, this staff is leaving, this show's canceled, and this thing is. Last segment show, I did a review of Sea Beast, and that was Netflix animation. That was great. Then in that same episode, I think we talked about Netflix acquiring Animal Logic.
Yeah.
And as far as the director of adult animation goes, you have BoJack Horseman, Big Mouth, and F is for Family is also on there. Let's see. Inside Job, which I talked about. Midnight Gospel, which, and I guess their Exploding Kittens, I think, is coming out relatively soon. Oh,
that was a
Mike
board
Judge.
game, wasn't
it? It was a board game from the guy who does the Oatmeal webcomic. I think he did the art for that. I don't know if it was his idea. I'm shocking. I'm unsure about the the source of Exploding Kittens, the card game. But apparently Mike Judge and Greg Daniels, Greg Daniels' Office and stuff. That's funny. The Office and Office Space. Mike Judge, Office Space.
Wow.
Anyway, they were /are involved in Exploding Kittens, which is the next, I guess, adult animated series. Anyway, so that's the list of stuff that he was involved in, and he's leaving. What does that tell you?
It seems like they're doing a to try to make it look like a friendly departure. Maybe he wants to move on to bigger and better things. But from past stories, it just seems like their relationship with Netflix and animation is it's a very rocky.
Do you think that this is him leaving something where he says this is going in a bad direction, I want to do other things? Or do you think this is Netflix going, why don't you go ahead and pursue other things?
Yeah, it might be that Netflix is over the moon. No, I think.
Okay, good job.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, with this new merging with Animal Logic, but he has a good track record of adult animation. So
right.
I don't know. Maybe it could be just a change of direction that he's seen, or he just wants to do a graceful bow before it just kind of the ship starts sinking. Maybe he's noticing some leaks.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he does want to move. It looks like he is. He spearheaded a Vine Studios animated production house. I assume he's leaving that as well. I don't really know what the deal entails. They're apparently looking for a replacement. I mean, obviously they're looking for a replacement, but I feel like if they were pushing him out, they would already have a replacement ready to go. Do you know what I mean? So I might be a little more inclined to think that this is him leaving. But it doesn't necessarily need to be a happy departure. Just that maybe he is moving on to things that he would rather do, which would be a good thing. And I think it is a big loss for Netflix. I mean, to have someone who is able to talk that talk, and walk that walk. I don't know why I continued that, but you know what I'm saying. Having someone who's kind of been around, and he's been developing these things. He's been doing stuff that's done pretty well for Netflix, as far as I know. That's what makes me think that instead of being pushed out, like, I don't think that he's doing anything wrong. And it looks like the series that he's producing are getting good. They're getting good attention on Netflix, as far as what we've heard. I mean, Inside Job isn't, but I hardly think that's the fault of someone, greenlighting it.
Yeah.
There's an offshoot for Big Mouth, right? Human Resources came out. I think Human Resources has been getting good attention, actually better attention than Big Mouth. I think there's people that. Didn't you say you would prefer to watch Human Resources as opposed to Big Mouth?
Yeah. It looks more fun. It just could be like I was watching the that show, The Offer, and I remember the producer of The Godfather they wanted him to do the sequel to The Godfather, and he was just like, I want to move on and do the Longest Yard, and but you're at the top of the game. You just won an Oscar. I don't know why I did the Italian hand gestures. he wanted to move on. Sometimes you just want to I did my work here, and I think you just get a little fatigued from
sure
your success.
Well, I mean, that's happening. The big thing, the reason that even bringing it up is just that it is a big loss, whether it was their choice or his choice. It is a big loss for Netflix animation, and it will have effects that, of course, we'll see and we'll track, and I'm sure that we'll talk about. But I don't know. Netflix is in such a weird place right now. It really feels like Netflix is they had a big hole in their ship that they didn't really realize was that big until it was a little too late, and now I think they're trying to patch it up as they go.
Yeah,
and they can. The ship is still very big. Still a very big, powerful ship, and if they can patch it up, and they have enough leeway, they have enough time, and they have enough resources to be able to make that fix without sinking.
Yeah.
You get my metaphor, allegory,
a lot of ship talk.
Analogy. I don't know which one. A lot of ship talk. Welcome to Ship Talk. Anyway, well, good. For him,
yeah,
if it was his decision or not. I'm sure, I have no doubt that he's going to go on to do some pretty good things. It makes me a little nervous about Netflix's upcoming projects, but we'll keep an eye out to see who's
I think
who
Mike
might be coming out.
Rapid fire. You'll get caught up in it.
I love it. I love Return to Rapid Fire, especially since we only got like 8 minutes before getting off the call. So we only have a few stories here. Extreme rapid fire. Rapid fire is where we ask for your news stories. You submit them on Facebook and on Patreon and such, and then we pick the ones that we might talk about on the show, and then the spillover goes into rapid fire where we talk, and we're only going to say 1 minute for each one of these, if that, and then we're going to move on, oftentimes without Rob seeing it coming.
Yeah.
So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm gonna go through this. Okay, all right.
All right.
And time on the clock. Here we go. The first rapid fire is from James T. in Nethery Regions. He says, "Hey, look, it's Flash animation before Flash animation. It was the Scanimate system test from Hanna-Barbera."
This was really interesting. I still have no idea how it was put together. I was not expecting it to move that way. Very creative, looked very difficult. A lot of buttons and
right. So gotta say what it is before. Like you've been doing this all episode long. You got to say what it is before the comment. It was a early motion graphics basically, where they would take images and kind of load it up into something, and then you would be able to turn some dials and squash and stretch and rotate and move and change the color and all sorts of things. And what they did is they did basically what he said. It's like cutout animation, where all the different parts of Scooby and Shaggy were drawn. The upper arm, the forearm, the hand, everything was done as a different thing, then put together, and through a series of dials and knobs, they were able to animate. What I found out is that it's 8 images and 8 keyframes per memory that they had. And the keyframes can be spaced out as far as you want, but imagine keyframes on Flash. When Scooby shook his head, it looked really good. It had that parallax of the nose and everything. It's very interesting, I think.
Reminded me of Character Animator earlier.
Totally a part of animation history that I was not aware of. Very cool. And they used it on a lot of my favorite movies and TV shows. I guess they used it on Flight of the Navigator. They used it for a lot of intros and rapid fire. Andrew Keiko just simply shared a Twitter excerpt from this story. I think it was on Hollywood Reporter from John Lasseter's, I think it's called John Lasseter's second act or something like that, where he is the head of Skydance Animation. Did you read this excerpt?
I didn't get a chance to read it, but we kind of chat about it.
Okay. I mean, basically, he says it doesn't have anything to do with his inappropriate touching. What it has to do with, he prefers to have scripts read to him, Zoom meetings and stuff, and I guess there are story pitches and story things that are read to him, and he falls asleep during them and forgets things. bedtime Zoom stories. I read the source article, the whole article, and it was really just more about him at Skydance Animation and him being able to get a whole bunch of high-profile people to work at Skydance Animation. Who knows what he's doing? Considering the stories, it's much better, in my opinion, for him to fall asleep on a Zoom call than to be in person.
Can't hug people when you're sleeping.
Just you did your job. Go away. All right. So next rapid fire. So Andrew Keiko, I know you already shared the Popeye thing. We already talked about that. But his next story that we did not talk about was. Did we say Andrew Keiko shared the Popeye story? Everyone shared the Popeye story. He shared Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio movie released a trailer this week. Did you see it?
I saw it. It's interesting. I think I'm very used to Pinocchio's design to be more like a child, a human child, and I think that was the main thing about Pinocchio. Is just Geppetto trying to make him look like a human boy, but he's wooden. So it's interesting to see him look like Groot.
I mean, yeah, I guess he does look a little bit like Groot. I like the design. I like the look of it. I think that it's fine. Distinguish yourself from that. I mean, we all know that Pinocchio, the story that they did, it wasn't the actual story. I think I mentioned this before about Jiminy Cricket. Him I think he steps on the cricket and kills it. I think it looks good. I'm still gonna watch it. And look at that. Comes up on Netflix. Netflix, always in our stories and our hearts and our minds. Rapid fire. Nathan, Mango Smoothie Vinny. He comes up with his own. He goes up with his own name now. You can't go Nathan by me. But he shared talk about maybe the continued transitioning of animation/art styles and mediums of the Gorilla music videos. I do think it's very cool that they make them age as they go along, and not just age, but they kind of go through different, different phases. Facial hair and piercings and things like that.
I saw the video recently, and I like that they jump back and forth between 2D and CG as well. But yeah, it's a fun song. I really like the last album they had, Sound Machine, I think it was called. They had some cool animation in there as well. Some of the videos they had out, they have a really unique style. If I could see more of that kind of style in animation, like series and movies, I'd be really happy. I know they have something to deal with Netflix coming up. I don't know what that's happening.
Yeah, we haven't really talked very much at all yet about the announcement that the Goon is going to come back again.
Oh, yeah.
And watching this, I was just reminded that it looks like that. Like this style looks like that Goon test.
Yeah. Yeah, the Goon was kind of in Popeye, kind of similar.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, well, that was it. That was rapid fire. Thanks for sending in all the stories. I post mostly weekly up on Facebook, but also Patreon. So if you become a patron, your stories will get read out first. So thanks everyone to submit.
Thank you.
And that'll do it for this episode of the Rubber Banding Animation Podcast. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for recording with me, Rob. And I'm going to hand it over to my friend, fellow animator, and co-host, Mr. Robbie O'Fell. Tell them how they can follow you on the internet.
What a wonderful morning this was. You can follow me.
and it's still morning.
It's always morning at Rubber Onion. Yeah, you can follow me at Rob UFO and on Twitter and I guess Facebook, and people still use that, Instagram and all that jazz.
Facebook is only for conspiracy theorists and babies.
If you want to hear my thoughts on the government and stuff, and the real deal, the underbelly of society, follow me on Facebook. How about you, Steve Brooks?
I would encourage you not to follow him on Facebook and instead follow me everywhere at Rubber Onion everywhere. Also, Patreon. All of these episodes, in case you were not aware, go up an entire week early up on Patreon, and sometimes even earlier than that. Ooh. Because this one, we're recording a whole bunch of them this week, and we're hopefully going to be uploading them throughout because, I got the vacation and everything. So check that out, and I'm going to be creating a calendar that's going to go up relatively soon on the website. Still have some updates to do on that, but that'll all come together. That's it. That's all I got.
Well,
what you should do is you should comment on the blog post and on the podcast post there on the website and let us know what you thought of all this stuff. Did we get it completely wrong?
Probably yes.
Pantheon, is it going to be great? Slippin' Jimmy, is it slippin' great? Little Demon, is it going to suck?
These are all porn titles.
Popeye. Mike Moon. Yep. I mean, I know that's his real name, but come on, man. That is Moon. Starring Mike Moon. I feel really bad now. Okay.
Well, he is leaving Netflix, so he has other career plans.
Waxing Mike Moon.
When the moon hits your eye.
That's the Mike Moon.
Now I want pizza.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Goodbye.